beam in different directions just to see who they can contact, and they're using some big time equipment on those frequencies, so should be able to hear somebody up here in the metro area, I would think, pretty easily.
Appreciate the info, guys. Yeah, I 57, 144, 220. See what happens, and we'll be monitoring digital net. K0 LH, we're clear.
Sounds good, Brad. Yeah, give a listen. I might even listen tonight. See what I can hear. Not much off of vertical, but and I'll stand by for your digital net, Jeff. K0GUR.
Okay, Mike. Sounds good. K0JSC, and yeah, I think we're ready to go. A note for everyone, if you want to watch the YouTube stream of my desktop, as I'm going through some of this stuff, if it's helpful, I changed it. I meant to do this for a while, and I've been talking about it for a year, and I finally changed it. So if you go to youtube.com and Google, or not Google, go to youtube.com, and in their search bar, type K0JFC. Excuse me, you should find my channel, and I'm going to do it right now just to make sure I'm not lying to you. Yep, type in K0JSC and interesting. Saw something else. Anyway, top of the page, K0JSC live stream, live now. You click on that and you'll see the desktop. And I think I got the radio audio patched in. Okay, should sound all right, I think. So mixed it up a little bit, but and I moved the videos off of the other one, and hopefully I can upload the previous videos back to this one. I haven't tried that yet. So we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Alright, I'll take some check-ins, and I hate to be overly redundant, but just because you check in doesn't mean that I'm going to put you on the spot. If you're interested in digital, or you don't even know what we're talking about, but you want to kind of listen in, and you feel like throwing your call sign out just to indicate that you're listening, you're more than welcome. If you kind of want to lurk, that's okay too. So let's get started. I'm ready to take check-ins. K0JSC.
Whiskey 1, Alpha Tango Echo. Checking in for the count, brother. K0MOQ.
0, BYQ.
0, K0GUR.
This is W0OJW, just to listen.
And 0, OBV.
KC2VJW.
K2IMZ.
KE0TMS.
AC0, KQ.
Kilo 8, Juliet Tango Kilo, K8 JTK. Okay, let me acknowledge who I have, and Amanda's reporting that there's a bit of a hum on the YouTube feed. I've just got probably a ground loop. I got an adapter coming out of the headphone port on the TS 1000 and going into a pair of the line ends on the Alesis mixer. So I may cut down the level a little bit to try to get rid of some of that hum, so hopefully it's tolerable. We've got with W1AGE, good evening, brother. K0MLQ, K0BYQ, K0KEP, K0GUR, W0OJW, N0OBB, KC2VJW, W2IMZ, KE0GMS, AC0KQ, and K8JTK all the way from Ohio. Good to hear Jeff and all of you. And there was I want to say there was a triple, and I got Brian KEP and Chris BYQ out of it, and if I missed you, go again.
It was me, AC0K2.
Okay, well, got you. I didn't catch you in the double, but I got you the second time. So, any more check-ins for the ARES R4 and 5 digital net? You don't have to be in ARES R4 and regions 4 and 5 to check in. Call now. All right, we'll run with that for now. And I said last week that I would pause and look for check-ins, and I didn't, so I'll try to remember to do that this week. So first, I would like to thank Willem, who helped me get this fixed. I was going to show you guys Winlink packet. Winlink Express is going to be a little different over HF, like we talked about, versus packet, you know. But my packet, the local Winlink node that I was running was having all kinds of issues. I couldn't figure out what was going wrong with it, and I thought I misconfigured something. And Willem thought that it may be my call sign. If you want to run a Winlink gateway station, you have to request access with them, and then they authorize you to do that. And some way or another, my call sign was no longer valid, or my access or whatever had expired. Willem said you might check that out, and sure enough, I did, and it was, and now it works. So I can show you guys how quick and easy it is to use the local Winlink node to send an email versus, and we could do HF too. I probably won't do that tonight, but it's almost the same process. So thanks to Willem for that. We'll be able to show you that, and now that works, I can probably, and I may have, if Willem doesn't mind, have him help me explain the challenge response. But for anybody that wants to play with Winlink, you don't really have. It's a little more complicated, but you don't have to use Winlink Express. You can just connect to a Winlink node with a terminal. And there's a special way that you have to type your password in, so it's not intercepted, of course. And we'll try to explain that. So you can actually just play with it with a TNC and a terminal, and like Hyper Terminal or Putty or something like that. And I'll try to show you that as well, and you guys can check that out. So I'm trying to remember if I got any BBS messages from anybody this week, and I don't think that I did, but I'll check. Okay, we'll check that a little bit later. Outpost is Outpost doesn't want to start on me, but demo if you guys are watching, and if not, it's really as simple when I go into the setup. If you have a radio with a built-in TNC, which tonight isn't my case, that's the TS2000, which is a built-in TNC, so serial cable to a USB to serial converter to get it into a PC that only had one serial port, and that one was dedicated to something else. It actually works okay. It's not a very expensive one either. I think it's, I'd have to look. I can't remember what the manufacturer, it's a $10 USB to serial adapter thing. So if you're going to do it over a your local packet network, you select Packet Winlink, open session, and it always puts the window on the wrong side for me. And then in the settings thing, this is where you configure your radio, what COM port you're going to be using. Some of the radios and TNCs are already defined, and as you can see, a lot of the Kenwood radios that have built-in TNCs are already defined. I think we explained KISS a little bit last week, so it's a very simple mode where the TNC really is nothing but a kind of a dumb modem. So you got KISS, you've got Open Tracker, which is another actually fairly affordable little TNC. I think they're $40. PTC, I'm not familiar with that particular brand, but that's another TNC that you can get, and Tiny Tracker and TNCX. Those are a couple of others. Of course, the AEA Time Wave is at the top, like PK232 or some of the other stuff that they have, and those can be, Cantronics, those can be found surplus pretty cheap. And Amanda says I'm moving the mouse too fast. So in my case, it's the TS2000, selected COM port 6, because that's what the computer gave the USB to serial converter. I have the baud rate on the radio. It's a menu option on the radio, the serial baud rate, and I think I can set it anywhere from 1200 baud up to, on this one I don't know, it might be 57,600, but I've just got it set at 96. It doesn't really need to go any faster than that. So we select that. I didn't touch any of these other things. Any of the delay or the packet links, or just kind of left them right where they are. And you can even check the auto connect. If auto connect is enabled, open sessions, so you can tell Winlink Express to automatically check your messages every so often if you want. I'm going to click cancel because I didn't change anything.
Please key and wait 1 to 2 seconds before speaking so you'll be heard over all.
So I'm going to go the long way around just to show you how a digi works. It's kind of interesting. But if you were within range of me directly, you could just select direct K0JSE-10 and click start, and it would go directly from you to me, and then I'll show you what happens after that. But I'm going to go via a digi, and we're going to go via the digi on Fremont Peak, which is called Canyon. And then my call here. Stand by. Wants a call sign, not an alias for this one, and I believe it's N0VWX-3. We'll try it. We're going to find out real fast if it's going to work or not. And I did it backwards. Willem's probably screaming at me right now. Sorry, Willem. Alright, there we go. We can use the... so we're connecting to me via the digi up on Fremont Peak. Antenna might be pointed in the wrong way. I may not have quite enough power, so we'll turn it up just a wee bit. Okay, so this is going to add to the time because I transmit to Fremont. I'm done transmitting. Fremont transmits to the Winlink node, which is actually right back here, so I'm going in a circle. So when you use a digipeater, and we've talked about this before, so I won't go into the huge diagram, it's not full duplex. Anyway, it's about transmitting, and it retransmits to wherever you're going. And it connects us to the CMS, I think that's mail server or something like that. So it's made a connection to the mail server over the internet, and it's out there if I have any mail. And then once it does that, it's either messages, or if I don't have any, go and check and see if I have anything in the outbox compose that needs to be sent out. And it will send those out, and then it will disconnect. I've got the packet side of the radio in the stream. I hope that's not too loud when I'm actually kicking it down just a little bit. I don't want it to be overpowering, but you can hear you can hear packet in the background or in the audio feed and kind of hear what it's doing. Looks like any second here it's going to be done. I'd illustrate how fast it is, just node to node, but it looks like I received a message, some sort of a bounce, and we'll look at that in a second. So it wouldn't be exactly the same, but you will notice a difference. So I can close this window now, and this is what I received. I sent it to K1DDN, but Amanda doesn't have a Winlink account. Yeah. Amanda doesn't have a Winlink account, so it rejected it. If I select direct, turn my power way back down since it's going a whopping 30 feet from one antenna to the other and click start, it's going to be much faster. So there we go, checked mail, nothing there, nothing to send, and we're disconnected. So every time you put a digipeater in the mix, it's going to add time to how long it takes to get from point A to point B. If there were another digipeater in the mix, I would add it here. So via Canyon, via whatever it may be, and I could possibly work a digi in Colorado Springs if I went to like from Canyon to Pueblo, and then I could maybe go back up to Colorado Springs if I had a path. Willem, did I make sense there? How much time do you think that when you put a digi in the mix, how much time do you think it adds to the amount of time it takes to do anything?
Well, the long and the short of it is every time you add a DT, you cut your effective throughput in half. So, especially if you're going to move some traffic, even assuming there are no retransmits, you're basically going from 1200 baud to 600 baud to 300 baud and so on. So, avoid a DT if you can at all possibly do it.
Okay, excellent. That's what I was assuming, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. But I am definitely not the all-knowing. Just thought this would be a good net to do, as we said before, so I won't say it too much again. But there you go. Questions so far? This is Winlink Express. It's a free program. They ask you to donate money, so it asks you for a registration code. If you've donated money, you don't have to. You can continue to use it. You don't have to pay for it. And you you actually don't even need a TNC to do this if you don't want to. You can select Telnet Winlink, which goes out over the internet, open session, and start, and it'll go really fast. It just creates a Telnet session over the internet, and you can check your mail that way with this program, and not even have to have it connected to the radio if you don't want to. So are everyone's eyes glazed over? Does it make sense so far? Did I skip over anything that was pertinent? Go ahead. Good, Will.
I guess sort of one of the things, I'm not sure if you said it at the beginning, but the magic is to find a local station with a -10 at the end of the ID. That typically means that it's a Winlink station. So if you connect to K0NTS-10 or K0JSC-10, those will put you into Winlink. Back to net.
Thanks, Willem. And I appreciate it. I should have mentioned that. And I just went to winlink.org and I clicked on Tools, and it brings us up to a live system map. And there's another feature in Winlink I'll show you, Winlink Express I'll show you real quick here in a second too. But the RMS Express map is, or RMS, that's for RMS, and they'll give you a list, and you can look at the CMS status, which are the mail servers. And I don't know why I don't show up on this map, because I should. For some reason I don't. Unless you gotta zoom way in, I'm not sure, but oh, here we go. Sorry, my bad. Up here you have Pactor and Packet. Pactor is one of the HF modes that we spoke of. Winmore, you've got that. So those are HF Winmore gateways, and if we zoomed out, we'd probably see several around the. You can connect to any one of these over HF. They're all over the place, and if you click on it, it'll tell you what the call sign is, and so on. And if we click on Packet, which is what we're talking about right now, there's going to be a bunch of them. You zoom in and you can see all the ones that are in Colorado. So there's me, there's a couple in the Springs, several in the Denver area. So questions, comments on this so far? K0JSC? Alright, Winlink Express actually has, if I can find it, sorry. You can actually download these, so it's using the settings that I put in. I told it where it was, what my grid score was, and all that. And I can actually update via radio, or I can go out over another Winlink node, and it will download all the stations that are close to me. Or I can do it via the internet if I have an internet connection. And it saves this. So if this is a laptop when you're deployed or you're out in the field or whatever, these will be here, and this is the last known status that they're on. So there's me and Mosquito, I believe is what that is. Actually, no, this is the one that was here. It's now here. That's Mosquito. And some of these other call signs I don't necessarily remember. There's Willem right there. Shows you the frequency they're on, what speed they're going, their grid square, whether it's a public or a private or something. How many miles away, and if you're using a Yagi, the bearing, so you know which way to point your antenna. And if you went to ignore Winlink, which is HF. That would be over a sound card. And open to session, I could do the same thing. Only these are all the, I don't want to update that right now, but it would. And it actually does propagation prediction, so it checks the solar flux and all this stuff, and it'll indicate which ones are, based on the time of the day, you have a good chance of actually making contact with over HF. So there's all of them, the frequency and the whole bit. Same as VHF, except it gives you a bunch more information, and you have to install a separate program to do this, but it gives you a reliability estimate. If we go way down, obviously it'll tell us the ones on 20 meters are not very reliable this time of the night. And you can frequently update the solar flux and basically the solar conditions, solar weather conditions, and it'll change these numbers based on what the current conditions are. Makes sense so far? There's got to be questions. I can't be doing that good of a job, guys. Alright, so that's Winlink Express in a nutshell, and I could actually show you how it worked instead of the previous demo where I had failed. Let me bring up a terminal window here, and if you didn't want to run this software, you could do it this way. It's probably easier to run the software. So there's the terminal display on my TNC, and I don't have a foot pedal on this, so I can't type and talk, so stand by. Now this is a challenge response, or it's going to do that. I'm just going to send a carriage return. I'm going to send enter. You can send anything. I think an enter will work. Maybe it won't. Send a 0. There we go. So what it's asking me for right now, login 328, it's asking me for characters, and Willem, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think I have it right. It's asking me for characters number 3, 2, and 8 in my password. So the character in position number 3 of my password, the character in position number 2 of my password, and the character in position 8 of my password. And then 3 other digits. Yeah, it has to be 6. So it's 3, 2, and 8 of my password in those positions, and then you can put whatever after that. 1, 2, 3, or AAA, or whatever. Has to be 6 characters. I'm not going to try to figure it out right now because I have a really stupid, complicated password. I'd have to write it out on paper to figure out what it was, but I got that correct, right, Willem?
That's correct. You send it back 6 characters. 3 of those characters are randomly assigned, but it has to include characters numbers 3, 2, and 8. But it can do so in any order. So it's a little bit of security through obscurity. The user doesn't know, or an eavesdropper doesn't know which of the 3 are for real and which of the 3 are just garbage characters that are being thrown in. And because the order doesn't matter, as long as those characters appear somewhere, it'll accept your connection.
Okay, and I learned something because I guess I hadn't realized that. So as long as it sees the character in position number 3, position number 2, and position number 8, no matter where they are in the 6-character string I send, it's okay. And yeah, since we obviously can't encrypt everything, and this is going out over VHF packet radio, anybody could intercept. If I set my password, it would have to be in the clear. Somebody could intercept my password and use it for malicious purposes, and we wouldn't want that. So, questions or comments, anything so far?
K0JSC repeater. Wedlow,
This is why you
Canyon
don't
City,
want your password to be
Salida.
AAA, because then it's always A.
KJTK.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, also what you're looking at there and with the log on, there's also a APRS link to Winlink, which allows you to send and receive messages using the APRS network, and a similar prompt is displayed, and there is a write-up. If you just Google APRS link and Winlink, there's a page. It's basically winlink.org/APRSLINK, and it gives you kind of an explanation there. It's basically you'll be prompted with like a 4, 2, and a 5. If your password is ABC123, you can send 1 Bravo to Alpha Zulu 5, and it would be valid since it contains the characters 1, B, and 2, which is 4, 2, and 5 in ABC123. So what you're looking at and what you're doing there is very similar to how the APRS link works and prompts you for a password. I've used the APRS link. It's quite neat if you want to send and receive your Winlink messages over APRS. KJTK.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. I haven't put invalid login response, so apparently I can't figure out my own password. Like I said, I would literally have to write it down on a piece of paper to figure it out, but it'll, I'm going to try to do it and show you. It'll take you through, and Willem, what's your experience? I know you've used it like this, using Winlink, packet Winlink, just in a terminal. I mean, there's some extra commands in there that make it a little bit challenging to use, but it is usable. If you're on a PC without the software, you could still grab messages and do stuff. You just wouldn't have them all in an inbox and things like this, to where I download them and I have them and I don't have to or just have it right here. So what's your thoughts? It's not necessarily effective over a terminal, but it's doable.
A0JC and the net AC0KQ. Yeah, I mean, once you get into Winlink, the command, it's using just a regular telnet session. It's just like any other BBS. You do L to list your messages, you do R to read them, and so forth. So it works exactly the same. The only additional step is this login. And what I just do is I write a little Perl script, and I tell it, what the challenge is, and it shows me what the response is, and I just do it that way. Otherwise, you do have to write it out on a piece of paper. It's a bit of a chore. This idea, of course, is not original to Winlink. As mentioned, APRS uses the same thing, but the original concept came from the old KPC. TNCs had a remote mode or remote command mode where you could basically go in and do the command settings on the KPC, and it used this original scheme to validate your login back to net AC0KQ.
Okay, Willem, that brings back a memory. One of the guys here, Phil, WA0NLK, worked with a lot of the TNCs here, and I'm sure he still manages the Fremont Peak one the same way. And I remember him trying to explain that to me, and it didn't click. And it does now, but I had to bang away at it for a while before I could get it to click. I want to show you guys something else. This is one of the BPQ node things. And Willem, I don't know if you can connect down here and go to the chat, but if I connect to K0JSC-7, so anybody with a TNC, if you have a path to me or via Fremont, you can actually do this. And you type in chat, and I know Neil and some of us played with this several years ago. I'm actually going over RF. I could talk to it locally over the network, but it remembers who I am, I think. server 145010 to the BPQ node here, and then it's on the BPQ server. And this is sort of like a keyboard-to-keyboard thing where multiple people could, and you can do it with Packet without a BPQ node, but you can actually create different little rooms in here to where there could be several people. Now, the more people that are participating, the slower it's going to go, of course. And I know Ben was gonna play a little bit, but he was gonna help us demonstrate. Oh, there's Jim. So there you go. And if you guys are set up to do that, you guys can pop in. But of course, same way.
KC2VJW.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, Jeff. I was playing with this a little bit between nets and discovered that my Winlink password is indeed expired, and it doesn't seem to want to accept it. But I had a nice QSO with, I think it's AC0V something, just keyboard to keyboard, which is kind of cool, just on the TNC. So I'm kind of curious if you could talk a little bit about what the etiquette is for that. Cool to hear another human, but I was a little unsure of the etiquette, and I know some of the other modes have slang. KC2VJW.
Not sure. I'm going to try to defer that to... you guys have a lot more traffic up there than we do, but Jim or Willem, of course, space them out, whichever one gets it first, I guess, or obviously, or you guys can both comment. And etiquette on Packet, if you're doing keyboard to keyboard, is there any, aside from the regs on Part 97, or there are things you shouldn't do?
AC0KQ. Oh, it's just like everything else. Be nice and first come, first served.
And check for double. K0JSC. Willem, have you had a chance, there you are, have you had a chance to play with the chat much? I mean, it gives everyone the chance to get in here. Obviously, if there's local traffic, you know, between me and you, it's not a big deal because the pipe between us is over the backbone, but I think you can stack up a whole bunch of people in here, and you just have to wait for everybody to talk, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I've never actually, held any conversations with this other than to make sure that it works. For the most part, it's just sort of I don't know, more like a round-robin kind of way of chatting.
Okay, awesome. And our focus has mostly been MCOM, but this is maybe a fun thing to do to stay fluent with Packet, and if you were doing HF and you were on PSK 31 or FT8, some of the newer modes or whatever, you might do the same kind of thing. There's Ben. You might do the same kind of thing, and you pass it off to somebody else, and you could just do a keyboard to keyboard thing over Packet. And like I said, you can do it over regular Packet, but this way you all connect to one chat instance. So instead of having to digi all the way down, you're connected to this chat server. I think it probably makes it easier to have multiple people, even from greater distances, being able to chat.
Well, and the general idea is you can have kind of a meeting this way. So if you can't talk on the radio, but you want to be able to have everybody see what you're typing and see what they're all saying. What the chat server is supposed to do.
Yes, exactly. And like Jim just said, if you do unproto on your TNC, you can actually just monitor all the traffic on the node that you're connected to, or on, you know, basically what you can hear, you'll actually see. You'll see everything. The only difference is, and unproto is a great point, and that was the term that I was looking for the other day, and I couldn't remember it. So thanks, Jim. I got to scribble a note down somewhere that I probably won't be able to find in a week. But if you do unproto, you decode everything. Everything goes by. And if you actually connect to or turn to the APRS frequency and do unproto, you'll see all the APRS beacons and all the stuff going back and forth as well. It's a good way to test it. We wouldn't necessarily, I don't know that we'd be able to do unproto between like Willem and I and Ben, because they're into this node up through the backbone and out K0NTS up near Evergreen. But otherwise, unproto is fun to play with, and I think Neil and I had done that in the past too, and maybe a couple others. Did I describe that right, Jim? It decodes everything. Anything that goes across, if you put in the command unproto to your TNC, you see all of it.
It really depends on what setup you're using. I'm using PC Packrat, which basically is unproto. I see everything going on all the time, unless somebody is connected to me or I'm connected to someone else. Then you only see that conversation. If you do unproto, you need to have direct RF link between all the stations. And then you can have a regular little net. N0 OBV.
Okay. And I wasn't sure about that, so you can do a lot with packet. You can, like Jim said, you can connect directly to another node, and I'm going to do a P, and the server will show us who's connected. There's some other commands that you can run, I think, you can set your QTH and your name and some other things. Stroke H for a summary, we'll do that. So these are fun things to play with. Again, for MCOM stuff, we may not use them, but it may be something that we could all use to kind of just keep doing packet instead of doing it only when we need to do it. If y'all's memory is better than mine, which I hope it is, it may not be hard to remember some of this stuff, but I need refreshers frequently, otherwise I start to forget even common commands and things and stuff, so I need to make a commitment to do it more often. But yeah, so it gives you a list of the commands you can show users and enter your QTH, and they're topics. They're kind of like different channels. You can actually create a channel with a different topic, and you wouldn't see if somebody had created a digital net topic. We're in general, so we wouldn't see the traffic on the digital net. You'd still have to wait for them to send stuff back and forth, but your TNC would wait until it was clear and send your traffic. But so there's topics, and we can show ports and links, which will probably only show one thing right now between me and Willem, I believe. I think the Mosquito one has an RF issue, so okay. So let me pause again. K0JSC. Questions, comments, anybody wants to pop in and indicate they're lurking? I promise I won't put you on the spot if you don't want to be.
OJW.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, I didn't want to cheapen your deal or anything, because I think it's pretty neat. There's a lot of things out there to look at, and actually probably more than what most screen readers could actually take care of. Howsoever, been working with a couple of folks in Maryland that are real taking part in their set here in October at the same time ours was. And it's very easy also, even if you didn't want to get super involved in the Winlink, to send and receive messages to other Winlink people, on the Winlink situations, usually their call at winlink.org. And you can send, regular emails through the computer and receive emails back the same way. In the subject matter, or in the subject line, I think you have to start it off with // and then I spell Whiskey Lima 2 kilo, and then a space, and then put your actual subject, and then you just finish up making up your email according to your program. So I've gotten quite a few emails that way, and I've also sent quite a few that way to my friends in Maryland, and also Neil when he was over in Puerto Rico. So that is another easier way to do it too, especially if someone isn't going to be using it all the time, or like in an ARES event perhaps. Back to you.
Oh, definitely, Dan, and Winlink is really handy. The one thing we have to keep in mind, and I think as hams we generally always do, is that anything we send, out over RF has to comply with Part 97, so anybody can intercept it and see what you are sending. But this, in Puerto Rico, obviously this was a tool that was heavily used, not necessarily Packet, but Winlink, of course, to send emails back to the states and obviously around the world. They didn't have any local infrastructure, or very little, and still don't, I'm sure. But over HF, they could send emails and receive emails to a node that in the States or in some other country that had an internet connection. So, you could use this for an ARES incident or something where you were out on a fire and you were in the middle of nowhere, the command post or shelter or something, and you had no cellular service, and this would be a way to send a message back to the EOC or the command post or the sheriff's department or your local served agency. And anyone with an email account can receive that, so they don't even have to be a ham. You could send it to the incident commander or your local emergency manager, just to his or her city, county, state, whatever email address, and they could send them documents and things. So it's very powerful. And let me reset real quick. I always want to showcase multiple tools. Winlink isn't the end-all be-all of digital stuff. It's definitely very powerful and very useful, but it isn't a one-stop shop. It's one of the tools that we have that we can use. And there's a time and a place, I think, to use it. And Dan, regarding a screen reader, I wonder, I'd have to try to play with this. What we're doing right now with the chat and with the terminal is it's just pure text. Now, it runs inside of a terminal emulator, like I'm using a program called Putty. But the older Windows boxes, I don't even think come with them anymore, had a program called Hyper Terminal. And I don't know how a screen reader would play with something like that. If it would actually play with it, you could do Packet through that. But I have not tested it. I don't know if you've ever had the occasion or the need to use. When did they drop support for Hyper Terminal? It had to be like Windows 95, 98 XP, somewhere in there, where they, for some reason, stopped including Hyper Terminal. But have you ever had an occasion? Have you ever worked with that?
Okay, I think it was a little bit. Well, yeah, that was before my time, and if I did, I probably wouldn't know. Howsoever, I am dipping my toes into a brand new screen reader. It's open source, and they use donations. It's a wonderful screen reader, and it's actually more robust than the one I have been using. It's called NVDA, November Victor Delta Alpha, non-visual desktop access. And a few of us have gotten into it, and it is a much more extensive screen reader. So as I get up and running on it, I want to see what it will do for some of these programs, including tickets, for example, just the way tickets is right now. So, like I say, I've just started messing with it, and so we'll see how that plays out in the future.
repeat the name, please?
Oh, the name is NVDA, Non-Visual Desktop Access. So if you just Google November Victor Delta Alpha, it'll take you over to the website. I think it's called nvaccess.org. And you can see what it all does, and they also constantly come out with updates. The development team can be approached with ideas that they will chew on. The idea is to make computers available especially in developing countries, for blind users. But they also have even some low vision aspects to the program as well. So it's kind of like a pool that has a very shallow end and an extremely deep end, so that will accommodate the users from all over the place. And I downloaded it here, Willem, just a couple of months ago, and I'm just now, starting to play with it.
Charge double. And the open source stuff is great because, a lot of the folks that do open source software really have a passion for what they're doing. So I think you find that it's more actively developed, and there are bug fixes and improved and all that stuff. There are so many people that contribute to a lot of not all of them. There are some open source projects which may not have a lot of authors or a lot of contributors, but I think for the most part there's probably a lot of folks that contribute to many different open source projects. So that's probably a really, sounds like it's a safe bet that they're going to continue to improve and build upon that. So that's exciting. Looking forward to seeing how that works out. I may have to download it here and try it as well. K0 JSC.
BYQ.
Go ahead, Chris.
In regards to Hyperterm, I don't want to date myself, but I use it on a daily basis on a Windows XP box. You can actually grab the Hyperterm program out of program files, put it over on Windows 10, and actually make it functional. I use PuTTY a lot as well, but just as you can, if you can snag that program and put it on a Windows 10 or Windows 7 box and make it work.
And I thought I remembered that, but I didn't want to say it because I wasn't sure if I was right. It seems like I had an occasion to do that. And I think it's more, in some ways, it's actually more fuddy, I combined two words, more functional than PuTTY, which is the program that I use. I use PuTTY mostly for SSH and Telnet stuff. I generally don't use it for serial, but I have, for the purposes of our net, I actually have. And Willem has a suggestion on how you connect to chat, and I'm going to back out of the chat and show you guys how to do that and tell you guys at the same time. So I do a /B to disconnect. And I'll do this with a VIA. So for the users that aren't truly local to me, and I've mentioned it before, where my VPQ node is on a mag mount stuck onto one of the vents on my roof. It's not much of an antenna, but you could connect to this via a Digi, and I don't know how many are around. I know Canyon, the one on Fremont Peak, is there. I really need to have a foot switch for this so I can... Of course, I don't know if you guys want to listen to me talk while I'm trying to type. That might be ugly, too. So in most TNCs, this is the syntax. If you were using a terminal program like this, C, connect space. The node that you're trying to connect to space via space canyon is which is the digi that I'm going to use. So again, I'm going to go in a big circle. And Willem, before I hit enter, I got that syntax right?
That's correct, but you may want to go direct to 11.
Okay. 11 is the chat. I'm going to go to 7 just to show you guys, and then we'll go direct to 11. There's two ways that you can do all of these things. And my TNC is funny. If I misspell something and I hit enter, it won't. I can't backspace and correct it. It won't let me do that. So if I connect to K0JSC-7, that's basically the node menu. So from there I can use any of the services that are offered by the BPQ node. The BBS message server, I can type in RMS and I'll connect to the Winlink system. I can type chat, I can type connect and a port and connect to some other node out on the network, and then all these other things. Type in routes and it'll show me. If I type in mherd, or I believe I can just do an MH space, and since the BPQ node has 3 ports, one of them we really don't even use. One is VHF, 2 is Telnet, which you wouldn't really use, and 3 is IP. If I type in MH3, it'll tell me what it's heard over the network. And it's probably going to say K0NTS-7, and it's going to disconnect me instead. We're running a little bit short on time, so I will explain what Willem was mentioning. Is each one of these, and I don't have my menu set up correctly to where you can just see them. Each one of these you can connect to K0JSC-whatever and get directly to that service without having to connect to the node here and then type it. So the BBS is -1. K0JSC-1 takes us there. K0JSC-10 takes us to RMS or Winlink. K0JSC-11 takes us to chat, so we'll do that. And we're going over Digi, so it slowed things down a bit. You can see that there's a little bit of delay versus me connected directly, of course. And Jim, N0VV K0JSC, are you connected directly to me, or are you going via Canyon to get to my BPQ node?
Currently I'm using Canyon because my antenna system is less than stellar for packet and 0BB.
Okay, gotcha. And it might be, Canyon seems to be acting funny lately. I'm gonna just disconnect, and I'm gonna do that without the VIA. There we go. This should work much better. It may have actually been something, Willem, I may have misconfigured something because it doesn't want to connect to -11.
I connected to -11 from K0NTS, so I know it works. Oh, yeah, you just joined.
And Jeff, I've tried it both through 7 and chat and through 11, and both worked earlier today. And 0BB.
Okay, thanks, Jim and Willem. There we go. Some of it is the TNC and the Kenwood TF2000 does leave some to be desired. It has some weird quirks. At times I've had to power cycle the radio, so some of it might just be my TNC. There are better TNCs. If you guys are looking for one, your best bet is to find an old Cantronics or an AEA Time Wave PK232. I've not used the Open Tracker for any of this. I'm wondering, Willem, have you tried the Open Tracker? We've got one in the QRV, and I'm using it actually just for APRS. But have you tried it for just doing packet? Does it work okay? I think those are like $40.
No, I haven't. But you know, if you search a bit at a Hamfest, and you can pick up an old KPC3, they are just bulletproof and they just work.
Okay, yeah. Camtronic stuff, or Cantronics is definitely they're bulletproof. I've got a Cam Plus that Amanda scored at a Hamfest for $25, and it is a really nice TNC. So like I said, we're not saying that you guys need to spend any money, but if you're interested in getting a TNC and working with this stuff, you can find them. And there'll be a couple of Hamfests coming up north. Most of the ones down south have already come and gone. Willem, what's the next one up there?
The first one is NCARC, which is in January in Loveland.
Okay, there you guys go, and gals. So you could travel 11 and look around, and I think it's the same Hamfest. Amanda got the Cam Plus and an old something else that I can't make work. Needed firmware updated on it, but I think she paid $25 for the Cam Plus and $5 for the other one. And if I had spent more time with it, I'd probably have it working. And I just got ADD and stopped messing with it. So let's pause there. We're about 2 minutes over the hour that we allot for the net. Don't want to lose anybody's attention if I haven't done so already. Next week, Ben and I are going to work together. We'll probably bring Willem in on it, and anyone else, maybe Jim, some others, and we'll see if we can maybe give a little better packet demo. Some different stuff, but and then we'll try to move on to something else. We've covered packet, Winlink, and packet-related things for the past 4 or 5 sessions, so I don't want to just strictly focus on this. We'll try to come up with some other topic, and if you guys have modes that you want to talk about, and like I said, it could be even FT8. It doesn't have to be MCOM related. K0 Jesse timed out a couple of times. It doesn't necessarily have to be MCOM related, and we may find a mode like FT8 that could be actually useful for MCOM. So just because we haven't tried it doesn't mean it might not be usable. So this is the place where we can work with these different modes, and we might have an aha moment and go, oh, wait a minute, we could use that for this. So good stuff. Final comments, any questions, anything like that before we wrap it up? Go ahead. Nothing heard. Just checking the Winlink mail just real quick. See if anybody sent anything. And there's nothing there. Feel unimportant. Not really. So thanks everybody for being here tonight, and appreciate all the info, the help from Willem, Jim, Ben, and the questions and comments from all you guys. It's It's been very helpful, I hope, to the entire net. So 7-3, K0JSC.
All, great net. AC0, get you.